This is the all-new Hyundai Grand i10. It's a car which comes with a refreshed exterior, lots of new features, and more importantly, an all-new upgraded diesel engine. So, we'll get to the engine later. Let's start off by talking about the interiors first.
Well, the Grand i10 always came with very good quality in the interiors, so Hyundai didn't have to do anything on that front. But what they have done is that they've added a few more features to this car. So now this car comes with a reverse parking camera. This car, remember, always came with reverse parking sensors, but now that camera is an additional fix. And you can, of course, view what's happening behind you on this huge screen. Yes, this car now gets a touch screen. And it's a good screen, legibility is very good, it's pretty easy to operate, and it also gets Google's Android Auto with the mirror link, and it also has the Apple CarPlay in it, which means that you can of course mirror the apps from your cell phone onto the system over here. Well, along with that touchscreen, the other big addition of course is the introduction of automatic climate control. Yes, this car, just like the Hyundai i20 now, also gets automatic AC. Well, overall perceived quality levels are very good. The top of the dashboard is made from soft quality plastics, and the top of the door pad is also made from very good quality plastics. You of course get this dark grey and beige combination, which really does liven up the interior on this car. Well, in terms of practicality, it's a good place to be in. You get these huge drop bins which can generally house that big 1 litre bottle from your home. You can of course place it over here in the middle of the two passengers, and you can obviously keep it over here in this huge glove box. And of course, if you keep your beverage in this glove box, remember it will remain cold because this glove box is a cooled one. It gets its own AC vent. Well, let's talk about the seat comfort. Overall seat support is decent. Hyundai could have given a little more cushioning for the lower back. It is a little soft. So if you are someone who's going to be sitting in these seats for a long while, you might feel a little fatigued over 3 or 4 hours because yes, the support could have been better for the lower back. Well, the first thing you'll notice as soon as you get inside the rear of the Grand i10 is the fact that the doors open really nice and wide, and the aperture to get in is also pretty big, which means that heavier frames won't have a struggle to get inside. And because it is a pretty tall car, it's pretty high up from the ground, you don't have to crawl inside this car. You can simply walk in and sit over here. So that's a good thing for someone who has older people at home, and parents especially who are in the senior citizen category. Good car for them. It's a car which has good amounts of room as well. As you can see, knee room is more than adequate, and I have adjusted the front seat as always for my height and my driving position, and my height for reference is 5'10". Headroom also is more than adequate. 6-footers should not have a problem in the least in these seats, and there is very good space below them where I can stretch my feet. It's also a very wide car at the back, which means you can generally house 3 people over here. And the best part is that the floor panel is virtually flattish, so whoever's sitting here has plenty of place to stretch his feet. And you also get these AC vents which have a decent throw of air. It's not too great, but it's decent, and it does help to keep the cabin cool and the occupants cool on that hot summer day. Well, just like the front seats, even the back seats are very good in terms of practicality. You get these huge door bins which are very good in terms of holding that 1 litre bottle. Very few cars at this price point actually offer you rear door bins, so that's a good thing from Hyundai in terms of practicality. And you also get little indents over here in the door handles where you can keep your cell phone or your wallet if it's not got too much cash in it. So very good job in terms of practicality as well as comfort in the back seat of the Hyundai Grand i10. Well, so the boot of the Grand i10 is as impressive as it was before, and it's a very well-shaped boot. It's a very boxy boot, which means that you can load in those big boxes without any issue. It's a deep boot as well. There's a bit of lip over here, but it's not a big issue because it's a well-shaped boot. And even though this might not be the best car for those big airport transfers, as a city car for that odd trip to the mall, it does its job pretty well. Well, the new Grand i10 comes with the same 1.2 litre petrol engine which makes about 82 bhp, but the big news is that the diesel engine has now been improved, and instead of a 1.1 litre engine, now you get a 1.2 litre engine, and power also has gone up slightly. Now instead of the 71 bhp which the earlier car made, the new diesel makes about 74 bhp of power. Well, so we've driven both the diesel as well as the petrol, and at the moment I am driving the petrol automatic. So if I talk about the diesel and you see the visuals of this car, the automatic car, don't go in the comment section below and start typing that I've not driven that car, because I have. And the only reason that we shoot everything in one car is because it becomes a lot easier for the video editors as well as for the cameramen to shoot everything. So don't really go out and start typing out in the comment section that I am talking about a different car and the car that I'm sitting in is a different one. Well, Hyundai makes the most refined diesel engines on comparatively priced cars, and it's no different with the new Grand i10. and this engine is so silent that when you rev it hard, there's very minimal buzz which enters the cabin. In fact, this engine is so silent that if you are standing still at a signal and the engine is on, some of the occupants at the back won't be able to tell if it's on or off. It is so efficient and so silent. Well, so an extra 3 bhp might not really look like a lot on paper, but when you take it out on an open highway, the new diesel engine on the Grand i10 feels a lot more flexible, and it also feels a lot more relaxed than before. And you also don't have to change gears very often because this engine has a better top end. It has a lot more power in the top end of the band, and even the lower end is a lot more responsive than before. So even though there is a little bit of turbo lag still prevalent, it's not as bad as it was in the older car. So power now on the new diesel engine car starts coming in from roughly about 1700-1800 rpm, unlike the earlier car where it only started to pour in after 2000 rpm. And it does go all the way up to about 4400 rpm, which means that flexibility is improved and you get a lot more revs to play with. And they've managed to improve the highway stability without compromising the city ride of this car, because the city comfort is still very good on this car. This car does soak in those bumps very well, and it's only those big and sharp crevices which enter the cabin. When you're of course maneuvering it around those rumble strips, this car will really soak in those bad rumble strips or those badly patchwork roads without any problems whatsoever. Well, a lot of people who review this car will tell you that the handling of this car is not really sporty and it does not really feel as sporty as some of its rivals. And people who buy these cars don't really think about taking these cars out on the racetrack and don't really think about handling and how nice and agile the chassis is. But people who buy these cars usually buy them for their hassle-free nature as well as their ease of driving. And those are two departments where the Hyundai Grand i10 completely excels. And why is that? Well, because the steering wheel is nice and light, the clutch on the diesel engine is very smooth, and it is a very effortless car to drive around town because you get this huge glass area all across, which means that visibility is very good both ahead as well as behind you. And parking this car into tight spaces should not be an issue. And even maneuvering this car in the city, you can do it with one finger because the steering wheel really is very, very light. Of course, that's something we will not suggest you or tell you to do, but it can be done. It is one of the best cars for city use and for that occasional highway trip. Well, so we're also driving the automatic, and it is a very good car to drive. The engine is really refined. It's as smooth as butter. The only bit of nitpicking that I can do, of course, is that it could have been a little more responsive, and it could have been a 5-speed automatic instead of a 4-speed. Well, you will miss that 5th gear when you take this car out on the highway, because when you are doing speeds in excess of 100 kph, the engine can become a little buzzy because it is spinning, of course, over 3000 rpm. So maybe Hyundai could have done something and given it a 5th gear, but otherwise for city use it's a very good gearbox. It's very good to drive and it's efficient, it's jerk free. Well, the manual gearboxes on both the diesel and petrol are very light as well as very accurate to operate, and they have a nice and slick action to them, so that's a very good thing. And the clutch on both the diesel and the petrol is very light and very linear to operate, so that's also a good thing for someone who drives in the city. Well, overall the Grand i10 is a car which really is focused at the city dweller. It's a car which people who drive from office to home and to the mall will really enjoy because it's got a big boot, it's got good driving dynamics, it won't tie you down, and it is a car which comes with lots of features as well. And there's little doubt that as your first premium hatchback, if you are of course upgrading from a small car, this car makes a lot of sense, and it is a car which will definitely put a smile on your face over many years of usage. Well, the Hyundai Grand i10 has always been a very good all-rounder, and these new updates as well as the more powerful diesel engine make it even stronger than before. If you're in the market for a premium hatchback, then you will be silly to ignore this car. It really is a car which you should check out at a Hyundai dealership near you. It is amongst the top 5 cars in the premium hatchback space in India at the moment. Well, but if you don't agree with my verdict and want something bigger and more posher than this, then you should also check out our review of the Hyundai i20 versus the Maruti Suzuki Baleno by clicking over here. Well, so if you or your friends are in the market for a new car, then you should tell them about our channel. And you can of course subscribe to us by clicking on this link above. We promise to bring you the most honest and unbiased car reviews here in India on YouTube. It's bye for now and hope to see you soon.